Hello, this is Dr. Pelto, and welcome to Healthy Living. As many children go back to school and specifically get involved in sports that may involve running and more activity, those that have flat feet can have real pain in their feet and legs. Let's talk a little bit about pediatric flat foot. Having a flat foot is common in both children and adults. When this happens in a child, it's called pediatric flat foot. Although there are other various forms of flat foot, they all share one characteristic. That's a partial or total collapse of the arch of the foot. Pediatric flat foot can be either symptomatic or asymptomatic. A symptomatic flat foot shows symptoms such as pain and limitation of activities, while an asymptomatic flat foot doesn't have any problems. So let's look at some of these symptoms you may notice in your child if they have flat foot. You may notice that your child has flat foot when they are born, or it may not show up till later in life. Most children with flat foot have no symptoms, but those that have symptoms usually have one or more of the following symptoms. They could have pain or tenderness or cramping in the foot, leg, or knee. They can have feet that point outward of the heel. They could have some awkwardness or changes in their walking where they look like they're stumbling and fumbling a little bit. They can have difficulty with their shoes, finding shoes that are fit. They could have reduced energy and desire to participate in physical activities, and they may complain that their feet or their legs are tired. They may have voluntary withdrawal from physical activities. They may tell you, "Oh, I just prefer to play on the computer," or "I don't want to go do a sport this year." And many times that can be caused because of the flat feet. How do you diagnose flat feet? First, a thorough examination of the foot is done, particularly how it looks when the child stands and when they sit. It's important to evaluate the range of motion of the foot and ankle as well. Finally, x-rays are often taken to determine the severity of the flat foot deformity. So let me show you with this model. A good arch looks something like this. When someone has a flat foot, you're going to notice that the arch collapses in and the whole foot collapses in. And you can see this when you're watching someone stand. A simpler example is if you go to the pool and you look at your child's foot, you're going to see the full footprint if they have a flat foot. So what are some of the treatments for flat foot? If a child has no symptoms, treatment often isn't even required. Instead, you could just observe and reevaluate it periodically. A lot of parents, though, they prefer to give their child a little bit of support in their shoes, and they may use an orthotic some of the time, even if there's no symptoms because of the flat foot. So what about when your child has symptoms with their flat foot? Do you have to do treatment? Not always, but there are some non-surgical treatments that you can do. The first thing that parents normally do is take their child out of that activity that's causing them the pain. By reducing the activity, you can reduce the pain and avoid other problems caused by prolonged standing and walking. So orthotics can many times be helpful to give more support to the foot. Here's an example of an orthotic that can give more support to the arch of the foot and also help stabilize the heel. If your child has a very, very flat foot, sometimes we can use something else like a higher orthotic. Do you see the difference of this orthotic? The back goes up higher and the side goes up higher. This is very supportive type of an orthotic for a child that has flat foot. Physical therapy can also be helpful. There are stretching exercises that can be supervised by your doctor or a physical therapist that can provide relief in cases of flat foot that involve tight tendons in the back of the calf. And then always you can use anti-inflammatory medications if a child at times has flat foot pain, but not all the time. This can help reduce the inflammation and make it more comfortable for your child to participate in activities. Also, when your child has flat foot, you have to choose the proper shoes that offer more support and stability in the shoe. Make sure they're comfortable, but also make sure they're going to accommodate that flat foot and not be too flat in the inside. So the question that the parents always ask is surgery needed for flat foot? In some cases, surgery is necessary to relieve the symptoms and improve the foot function. The surgical procedure or combination of procedures selected by you and your child will depend on the flat foot type and the degree of the deformity. Many children are able to be treated with non-surgical treatments for flat foot. Surgery is a last resort, but if you'd like to learn more about pediatric flat foot and other problems involving the flat foot, you can go to drpelto.com and you're going to find a link titled Healthy Living.